Is your car overheating and leaving you stranded in the middle of nowhere? Then it might possibly be your thermostat or water pump is deteriorating and not functioning properly. Here is a more comprehensive list detailing the most common signs of a faulty or failing thermostat or water pump to be on the lookout for, starting with the thermostat. 1. High temperature reading and engine overheating. The initial and potentially concerning symptom is a temperature gauge reading that climbs into the red zone within the first 15 minutes of your vehicle's engine running. This is frequently the first indication that the thermostat is not operating correctly. It signifies that coolant is not entering the engine due to the thermostat being stuck closed, posing a risk of rapid engine damage. Coolant is intended to travel to the radiator for cooling before returning to the engine to dissipate additional heat. However, in the case of a stuck thermostat, the coolant remains stationary, leading to the continued accumulation of heat. 2. Low temperature reading and underheated engine. A thermostat stuck in the open position consistently directs coolant into the engine, resulting in a lower operating temperature. The temperature gauge will indicate a needle that barely rises or remains at the lowest setting. When the engine fails to reach an optimal temperature, its efficiency diminishes. You may observe increased fuel consumption, resulting in additional expenses at the pump. Furthermore, this issue can contribute to premature wear of engine components. 3. Temperature fluctuations. Erratic temperature fluctuations can manifest as dramatic spikes and drops, adversely affecting engine performance and diminishing gas mileage. In such instances, you may observe the temperature reading unusually low at one point, followed by a rapid climb to an abnormally high level shortly after. While the thermostat itself may not be physically stuck in any one position, it can still generate inaccurate readings and disrupt the proper regulation of coolant. 4. Heater fluctuations. The coolant is responsible for heating the car's interior through the heater core. Consequently, if the thermostat fails to regulate the engine temperature consistently, you may encounter temperature fluctuations inside the car from the vents. If both the temperature gauge and the heat inside the car experience fluctuations, it is definitely time to inspect the thermostat. 5. Possible leakages and steam from the engine. When the thermostat is malfunctioning, the high-pressure hot coolant within the engine coolant chamber may find a means to escape. Given that hot air rises and water transforms into steam when heated, excessive pressure can lead to leaks at vulnerable points. The coolant is frequently forced out of the radiator tank. Leaks are typically easy to identify as they are visible, often manifesting as white steam smoke. Furthermore, the water pump can contribute to engine overheating. Here are 4 common signs and symptoms indicating malfunctions in the water pump that may result in an overheated engine. 1. Leaking coolant. A coolant leak can point to various issues, but when it's coolant on the front of the engine, it's often indicative of a water pump leak. The source of the leak may be the water pump gasket where it attaches to the engine or the seal on the water pump shaft. Regardless, observing coolant leaking onto the engine and dripping to the ground is a serious indicator. Planning for the replacement of the water pump and gasket is recommended. In cases of minor leaks, you may notice a white residue trail where it drips down the front of the engine, tinged with the color of your coolant. Such leaks may not reach the ground because the engine's heat causes the coolant to dry on the metal surfaces. 2. Overheating. If your engine is overheating, it's an indication that the heat generated from combustion isn't effectively reaching the radiator for cooling. Several factors can contribute to this, including 1. An air pocket or airlock in the cooling system, hindering coolant circulation, possibly caused by a water pump leak. 2. Damage to the water pump impeller fins, either sheared off by debris or due to freezing. 3. Seizure of the water pump shaft due to corrosion or bearing failure. Overheating is a severe condition, and if you observe a spike in the temperature gauge or receive a warning message on your instrument cluster, it's crucial to stop your car as soon as possible and turn off the engine until it cools down. Repeatedly allowing your engine to overheat can result in lasting damage, such as a blown head gasket, warped cylinder head, or even engine seizure. 3. Water pump corrosion. Experiencing symptoms of a bad water pump may be attributed to corrosion. Within the pump, contaminated or improperly mixed coolant can lead to corrosion on the impeller. Externally, corrosion can create problems with the belt slipping on the pulley. In certain instances, observable corrosion or buildup on the water pump itself may serve as an indication of its failure, even in the absence of other symptoms. 4. Squealing. A squealing or chirping noise emanating from the front of the engine can serve as an indication of a failing water pump. This sound closely resembles that of a serpentine belt making noise, and often it's because it is. The added resistance from the water pump can lead the belt to slip along the pulley, typically with a rhythmic cadence correlating with the engine's RPMs. Once again, the usual cause is a worn shaft bearing. In some instances, the water pump can operate in this manner for weeks, months, or even longer, or it may immediately fail by seizing up. While it stands as one of the early signs of a deteriorating water pump, it should be treated seriously, even if the noise occurs intermittently. Replacing the water pump might also require changing the timing belt, water pump pulley, serpentine belt, or other engine seals and gaskets. Click on this video right here to explore the signs and symptoms of a faulty serpentine belt. And as always, if you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to support the channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.